Talk about why you took the role in The Guard. Was it just, I did a movie with his brother, I might as well take this one, what the heck?
No, I read it and I said, let me do it now, please. The writing was clear and brilliant and hilarious and kind of sad. And it was a dream character, to be honest. It had really nothing to do with anything else other than that. Just wanted to do it immediately.
The writing obviously is so tight. Was there room to improv at all in this role?
Well, I got all the best lines that all the best lines basically are mine. At least that's what
I like that.
That's what I tell myself at night. It was there were a few times when just the situation kind of cried out for something that we had to go at in improvisation, but for the most part there was no need for it whatsoever. So it was the kind of thing where it was always going to be a bonus. You know, the scenes are beautifully kind of crafted and beautifully tight. But sometimes in the playing of it, you know, new possibilities happen, and we went for once or twice. But honestly, it was never. You know, sometimes you need to go in and you kind of say, "Look, this is kind of working, but there's something just not sitting well." Or that was, you could count on the fingers of one hand the amount of times that we said, "Look, there's, you know, something not working here." It was nearly always a question of, "Look, we have that, but I'd love to there's just something that I'd love to have a go at." And John, in fairness to him, was very open to it, you know. And Don was a dream to play with in those terms, because no matter what you threw at him, it was going to come back in spades. So I just loved it, really.
I could tell as you're talking about that, your face lit up. So what moment did you have so much fun playing with?
Oh, you're trying to find out all little inside stories.
A little inside, yeah, of course.
I think where I asked him if he grew up in the projects, that's the one where the expression on his face, and at this moment I don't even know whether it's the one that's left in the film or what, you know, we did a good few takes of that. And it was such a mixture of kind of initial shock, but then not shocked really, because he's heard it before. And he did something like, you know, I asked him if he had grown up in the projects, and it was a kind of a long sigh that went, as in, here we go again. And I just remember thinking at that point, there's nothing we can't do here, because he was bringing a depth of experience and kind of just, this guy was for real. He wasn't dumb, either of them, in terms of, you know, this was an experience he would have had before, where somebody assumed that he had grown up in the projects. And that, for me, funnily enough, it's not any particular line, but it was the one where I knew that we had a real sort of character study going on and that actually we could throw anything at each other and we would know how to respond.
John and his brother have such similar writing styles. Are the director's styles the same?
Well, John tends to be, he would kind of go past you just before a take, and he would move a little ornament on the back of something just from here to about here. And then he'd come back and say, right, okay, we can go now. There was a very kind of a deliberate, a very perfectionist kind of, what's it called, obsessive compulsive disorder type thing going on there with him.
Little OCD.
Pardon?
Little OCD.
OCD. That's what the. But actually, I was more interested in the differences between in terms of the worlds, because they're two different. Excuse me, they're two different voices. No, excuse me. And a lot of similarities are very easily made. A lot of people who've been writing about the film are tending to emphasise the similarities, whereas for me, the worlds are very different. And I keep throwing out to people that if you try to put Jerry Boyle into the world of In Bruges, it just doesn't work. And it's only when you start trying to, could you actually mix and match? You can't. The voices are very different. The world is very different, even though, of course, there's a similar sensibility in terms of sense of humour and there's a kind of a ferocity about the writing that is shared. But the worlds are very different.
You started or jumped into acting at 30, in your mid-30s rather than your early 20s. What did your 30-year-old self have advantage over your 20-year-old self?
Advantage?
Yeah.
Not a lot. Thinner waistline, maybe, just about. No. I mean, you can't second guess every time. You know, the periods of your life. You have to live them as you are. And, you know, I mean, the great thing would be to go back and have your youth with an old head on top of it, but even that would be completely unsatisfactory. I think I've learned an awful lot. I had learned a lot in terms of theatre at that point, theatre at 34, when I finally went full-time. The fascination for me is to start a new life as a professional actor, and then to find the medium of film, which was new and required a whole new set of rules, a whole new set of disciplines and things like that. So it's just been a ball. I wouldn't compare really.